Dobrý deň, vážení zákazníci. Ďakujem, že ste prijali pozvanie na dnešný webinár so spoločnosťou Crashel a Micron. Moje meno je Lucia Germanová a v mene spoločnosti ASBIS vás vítam na našom dnešnom webinári. Ako ste si už určite všimli, zapli sme nahrávanie dnešného webináru a rada by som vás podľa pravidel GDPR na to upozornila a svojou registráciou ste dali súhlas k tomuto nahrávaniu. Taktiež by som vás chcela poprosiť, aby ste mali počas prezentácie vypnuté mikrofóny a na komunikáciu s nami používali četovacie okno. Prezentácia bude prebiehať v anglickom jazyku, avšak v prípade, že máte nejaké dotazy, kľudne ich môžete taktiež posielať v českom jazyku a naši produktoví manažeri sa budú snažiť odpovedať na tieto vaše dotazy. Prípadne po skončení prezentačnej časti by sme sa na tieto dotazy ešte spoločne pozreli. Za mňa ešte pár slov k dnešnému školeniu, čo bude obsahom tohto školenia. Na začiatok by som rada vám predstavila náš tím, potom by sme pokračovali prezentáciou spoločnosti Micron, ktorú bude dnes viesť pani Ester Spanier, ktorá je Enterprise Business Development. Taktiež by sme pokračovali prezentáciou Crashel, ktorú bude viesť pán Pavel Pilarsky. A na záver by sme si dali Kahoot quiz o hodnotné ceny, ktoré určite vás lákajú. Pre tento Kahoot quiz vás poprosím, aby ste si na záver školenia mali pripravené svoje mobilné telefóny. Nie je potrebné, aby ste si vzťahovali žiadne aplikácie. Stačí, aby ste použili stránku www.kahoot.it a následne vás budeme viesť, ako tento Kahoot quiz budete odpovedať na otázky. Nie je to nič náročné, určite si ešte pred začiatkom urobíme nejakú skúšobnú časť. K nášmu ešte úvodu. Určite náš ASBIS tým poznáte, ale pre tých, ktorí by ešte niektorí nepoznali, tak by som rada predstavila v prípade, aby ste mali nejaké otázky ohľadom produktov Crashel, tak určite neváhajte kontaktovať nášho produktového manažera pána Lukáša Novotného. A v prípade dotazov na produkty Micron, tak vám je vždy k dispozícii pán Jan Medo. Taktiež by som rada upozornila, ak ste ešte dnes neboli na našom e-shope, tak rada by som vás upozornila na prebiehajúcu akciu, ktorá dnes prebieha Crashel Day, kde máte 6 vybraných produktov za špeciálne ceny. A týmto by som asi prešla v dnešnej časti. Sa ospravedlňujem, ale asi niekto máte zapnutý mikrofón. Môžem poprosiť, aby ste si naozaj všetci stlmili mikrofóny? Áno, už je to v poriadku. A týmto by som asi rada prešla k prezentáciám spoločnosti Micron, ktorú, ako som vravela, bude viesť pani Ester Spanier a privítala ju na dnešnej prezentácii. Esther, thank you very much for your time, and we are glad that you accept our invitation to today's webinars. Please, can you share your presentation with us?
Yes, thank you, Lucia.
Okay.
Tell me if you can see my screen already.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and very much appreciate the invite. I love your country and I love your company, so it is a good match and great to be here today. Thank you for everybody that has joined us today. It looks like you're going to have some pretty cool prizes in the end. So actually, I wish I was somebody that was dialing in instead of presenting, so I could also win one of those cool prizes. Anyway, what I'm going to be talking about today is a little bit more, make you familiar with Micron. My name is Esther Spanier. I am responsible for business development for the enterprise products of Micron. So all the products of Micron has 2 brands. We have a Crucial brand for our consumer company, and we have the Micron brand for our data center products. That is the part that I am responsible for. And so that's what I'm going to share with you today. If there's any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or raise your hand, and I will try to answer them as good as I can. But what are we talking about today? I kind of wanted to give you a high-level update on what has been happening with Micron as a company. I'll share with you some market trends, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the products that you can expect to see in the market from Micron. And last, we will finish off with some quick tools that you can use to look at compatibility and kind of comparable part numbers. But let's get started with the some of the updates on the corporate side from Micron. So the first slide is kind of, as you always start a deck, is to give you a little bit of an overview of the company. We are a $30 billion company. We had a very, very good year. Last year, we think in fiscal year, so that goes from September to September. So the numbers that you're seeing here are running from September 2021 to September 2022. Overall, a very good year. 73%, or if you call it 3/4 of our revenue, is coming from DRAM, and 1/4 of our revenue is coming from NAND-based products. The biggest thing that I really want you to remember today is the fact that Micron is a global company, but very, very focused on innovation and technology. I think in the past, when people thought about Micron, we were never really a market leader when it came to technology and when it came to innovation. But in the last 5 years, that has really changed. We have a new CEO that joined the company about 5 years ago, and ever since that CEO has joined, the company has undergone a very large shift. One of the things that we are doing is investing heavily in our future. We pledged a few months ago that we're going to invest $150 billion in memory manufacturing and R&D worldwide in the next 10 years. And so that is a very, very big number when you're looking at our annual revenue is 30 billion. So if you were to say, okay, 30 billion times 10 years is 300 billion, and so half of that is being put back into the company to make sure that we have the right technology and equipment to continue to manufacture cutting edge products. When you're looking at our innovation and technology, I bet you didn't know that we have over 50,000 patents to our name. In fact, 51,000 and counting. Very, very innovative company. This picture that you actually see here on the background, like kind of these blue panels that are disappearing into this long hallway. This is actually a picture of a real wall in our headquarters in the United States. All these little white kind of blurbs that you see there are the names of a patent, the number of the patent, and then the name of the patent holder. So you see we have, if you will, a wall of fame in our headquarters that are representing these 51,000 patents. And all of these patents have really led us to be leading the industry from a technology perspective right now. Both on the DRAM and the NAND side, we are between 6 to 18 months ahead of our competition when it comes to manufacturing and developing the underlying silicon that we need to build our products. So on the DRAM side, we have recently announced that we are building the 1-beta technology. On the NAND side, we recently announced that we are building the 232-layer technology. Now, when you're buying a Crucial SSD or a Micron server DRAM module, you obviously don't really care what the underlying silicon version is. But what you should be caring about is that the latest generation of silicon allows us to be to drive that cost down. It allows us to have longer availability of the products and to really push that technology envelope. So at the end of the day, the fact that Micron is leading now the industry is, a very big thing. And in our history, we've never been able to say that we are leading the industry both on the NAND side and on the DRAM side. So that's a big shift in who we are as a company, and hopefully will prepare us in a very good way for the future. The 232 layer actually is already shipping in our crucial consumer products, and we are planning on also incorporating that into our enterprise class products as of next year. When we look at our manufacturing sites, we have, as you could imagine, a worldwide footprint. A lot of our manufacturing is happening in the Far East. Malaysia is where we manufacture all of our SSD products. Singapore is a combination of DRAM and SSD. Taiwan is where we manufacture all of our silicon products, as well as China and Japan. China actually is an assembly factory, and Japan as well. Now, the interesting thing is that while we were heavily represented in the Far East, like all of these semiconductor companies, we recently also announced that we are opening up a new memory facility in our headquarters in Boise, Idaho. This is the first new US memory fab that is going to be built in 20 years. Construction has started this year. We expect to be in volume production by 2025. And not only did we announce the building of this particular facility, very shortly after that, we announced that we're building a second facility in New York State in a town called Clay. That is what we call a mega fab. We expect to invest $100 billion into this fab over the next 20 years. And we are going to start the construction of this fab in 2024 by the end of this decade. So call it 2030. This fab is supposed to be fully operational. Once this fab is fully operational, 40% of Micron's global memory output will come out of the United States. Today, that is 2%. So a very, very big shift towards bringing some of that manufacturing back from China into the United States. It is really the result of some of the financial incentives that the United States government has put forth to bring back some of that manufacturing back, but also looking at what the world has gone through in the last few years. The company has realized that being dependent upon one region in the world for its resources is not a good thing from a business continuity perspective. I think we all have suffered from shipments that weren't coming out of China because of all the lockdowns. And so I think we're all suffering right now from the energy crisis because we're not getting our gas from the same source in Russia. And so I think the world is learning that spreading our manufacturing on a global basis is a much better business decision and strategy than being dependent upon a certain region. So this really is the result of some of those trends that are happening, financial incentives from the United States government, and then looking more at mitigating business risks. So a different footprint moving forward, but certainly one that we feel very comfortable and confident about. And then the last kind of update on the corporate side is something that, I think starts to become more and more important for our customers. And that is our global footprint in terms of our environmental impact. You see here the goals that we have put together. I think the most ambitious goal is the one that states that we want to be net zero carbon emissions by 2050. That sounds like a very long time away. But if you understand, semiconductor manufacturing is a beast to tame, and so changing that and really making it carbon neutral is not an insignificant task, and hence it is such a long roadmap. But we have started already using renewable energy in our manufacturing facility in Malaysia this year. The new facilities we're building in the United States are going to be using 100% renewable energy. And so we're definitely, on our way to reach those goals, but it's taking a long time. The company ships 6 million units of products a day. And so, changing that operation around is just a very massive undertaking that just takes time. Nevertheless, I think we are ahead of our competition when it comes to sharing these ambitious goals and really starting to measure our impact and looking at life cycle calculations, etc. All right, so that was just a really short introduction on the company and overview where we are heading overall. I kind of wanted to jump to some of the market trends that we have been seeing on the on the SSD and the DRAM side, and what are some of those trends that probably will impact you as well. So first of all, when we look at the overall memory market compared to the overall semiconductor market, the memory market is about 1/3 of the overall semiconductor market. So it is a very, very big portion of the market that when you're looking at semiconductor manufacturing, that is coming from DRAM and NAND. You see that the DRAM market is slightly bigger than the NAND market, and when we're looking at the the mobile market, that is a big portion, but everything that we call non-mobile or non-SSD, is kind of what's going into other markets. Now, when we're looking at the future of the memory market, we do see that the market is going to grow. The amount of capacity that is going to be shipped into a server, both in the DRAM and the NAND side, is growing or even tripling. And so we expect that the overall market for data centers, so products that are going to go into a server, whether it's an SSD or a DRAM, is going to grow, from 2021 is when we measured it, till 2030. You see it is a very, very large growth. And so that is really the reason why we are investing so much money in building all of these new additional manufacturing sites, is to really be ready for that growth that we expect the market to make when it comes to putting more and more memory and storage into their servers. When we're looking at the storage portion, I always get the question, what about SATA versus NVMe? SATA is dead, is what I hear a lot of people saying. And I'm here to tell you that it's absolutely not dead at all. In fact, we believe that the SATA market is still a very stable market for many, many years to come. We believe that it's not a dying market, and we have actually products. We just released a new SATA generation this year to really continue to support that SATA market in the server space, because we believe that it is going to be around for a long time. The other question I get from customers is many times, we are shifting now from PCIe Gen 3 to PCIe Gen 4. When is PCIe Gen 5 coming around? And we think that it still will be quite a long time, at least 3+ years. But PCIe Gen 5, if you don't change the infrastructure in your data center to really take advantage, so not only do you need to buy a server that can enable PCIe Gen 5, you also need to actually have the backend infrastructure to enable that server to be connected to a very fast backend. So if you look here at the kind of, the network speeds that you find in the data center, I would say the majority of data centers today are, probably 50 gigabit networks. Some of them are higher, but, I would say the average data center in Europe is a 50 gigabit network-based data center. And you see here that, you really don't need a whole lot of SSDs, even from a Gen 4, to saturate that network. So unless the data center and the customer will also upgrade their entire network infrastructure, moving to PCIe Gen 5 doesn't really make sense, because there is really no way that you can get that speed out of the backend. So we believe that PCIe Gen 4 will be the main technology for the next few years when it comes to NVMe drives. Then when we're looking at the capacity mix between SATA and NVMe or PCIe, we're kind of looking at the last few years, and the SATA drives, 90% of SATA drives that are being sold are relatively low capacity, less than 2 terabytes. Whereas if you look on the NVMe side, the majority of drives that are being sold is actually going to be 4 terabytes and above. And in fact, there is even drives coming out very soon that are 30 terabytes. And, in another year or so, you will see 60 plus terabyte drives on the NVMe side. So we really see SATA being dominant in the lower capacity points, 480 gigabyte, 960 gigabyte, and 1.9 terabyte. And then NVMe, the majority of the demand that we see is for those higher capacities. And that really makes sense because SATA is used in many cases for boot purposes, maybe for some logging, whereas if you really need a fast caching device, you would be looking at putting in an NVMe device into a server that is capable of running a faster cache. Similarly, when we're looking at the difference between SATA and PCIe when it comes to endurance, the SATA market still sees some demand for some higher endurance drives. You see in 2025, still 17% of the market will require some higher endurance, some more drive writes per day, compared to the NVMe market. And the reason for that is really simple. The SATA market, because we're selling lower capacity drives, there is, as soon as you have a lower capacity and you will do a lot of writes to it, that drive needs to be able to be able to have more endurance than if you have a 15 terabyte drive that you're going to have a hard time anyway filling up, more than once a day. So that really is the reason why you see on the PCIe side lower endurance needs, just because the average capacity of these drives are higher versus on the SATA side, where the average capacity of the SATA drives are lower. So that is kind of like some of the market trends that are happening. SATA is here to stay. PCIe Gen 4, we're seeing, the capacity points for SATA up to 2 terabytes, the capacity points for NVMe above 4 terabyte, and SATA, in many cases still requires a little bit higher endurance than NVMe. That's really, in a very short summary, some of the trends that we're seeing in the data center when it comes to SSDs. Now, when we're looking at the data center and how SSDs are being used in a data center, we kind of map that out across different kind of areas of use cases. So we're trying to map out here, performance, power versus features. And, depending on what the requirement is of the application, it will fall into one of these kind of 6 segments. Starting at the bottom left, boot, which means you need a drive that doesn't have a whole lot of features, doesn't have a whole lot of, performance and power capabilities, because all you want to do is boot from that drive. Now, moving up a little bit to the right, there's going to be a lot of applications where, you will need a little bit more performance, a little bit more power, and some more features. So that would be what we call our cloud mainstream workloads. Going all the way up to the top, cloud high performance is where you really would be needing a drive that, for, high end, caching capability, very performance sensitive applications such as artificial intelligence, database acceleration, those kind of high frequency trading, those kind of applications. And then moving to the right, storage is where you're going to need a lot of high capacity drives. So think here 30 terabyte and above. And then what we call enterprise server and enterprise storage is really more the OEM flavor of the drive. So an HP branded SSD or a Dell branded SSD, where it's in essence the same drive as the generic SSD, but with a few more customized features for HP, Dell, or whoever it is that they're buying. So it's just a little bit more of a customized product versus the generic product that you can find in the channel. And so when we're kind of overlaying the Micron portfolio on top of these needs, we having a few different product families. The first one that would cover kind of that left bottom area would be our mainstream SATA products, the Micron 5400. And the Micron 5400 is the next generation SATA product that we are bringing to the market. It is a very stable architecture. This is the fourth generation of SATA product that use the same architecture. It's based upon a controller that we use from a third party, Marvell. It's the same, the firmware is built by Micron, and so the only thing we changed from generation to generation is the underlying flash technology that we're using. So the Micron 5400 is using that 176 layer flash, which is today in the enterprise space the most advanced flash technology. And so when we're looking at speeds and feeds, the Micron 5400 is available in two flavors really. The Pro, that what we call 1 drive write per day, so read intensive applications, or the Max, that's 3 to 5 drive writes per day, what we call mixed use. And then depending on what the capacity needs are, 240 gigabytes all the way up to 7.68 terabyte. So this is a very, SATA is SATA. There is not, a whole lot that you can push for except making sure that, you have stable performance. The endurance that you see from these drives are higher than some of our competitors, because we're using that latest generation of flash that has some better capability than some other flash generations. So all in all, the 5400 SATA, I think, is a very compelling and interesting product when you're looking at putting a SATA drive into your server. Now, going back to that picture of these different market segments, when we're kind of going up a little bit, the next portion of the market will be covered by our mainstream NVMe product, the Micron 7450, and that is a product that is completely built by Micron, including the controller. So it contains a Micron design controller, Micron DRAM, Micron NAND. It is an NVMe drive, variety of form factors and capacity points, up to 15 terabyte in the U.3 form factor. But you see also we have M.2 for boot purposes, and even E1.S. For those of you that don't know what that is sometimes also called the Intel ruler. that is used for to put into 1U servers that need a lot of flash and compute capability in a very, very small form factor, a 1U form factor. I don't see a lot of demand for that in the channel. The majority of our customers are looking for U.3 15mm drives, and then, you know, with a variety of capacity. So we have a very competitive product here, you know, that really can compete directly with, you know, the Samsung, the Solidigm, Kioxia, etc. In fact, I have here an overview of where the you know, which are the competing drives that we are seeing in the market. You see that it's a pretty crowded market. Samsung, Solidigm are definitely our two largest competitors. But if you look at the kind of, you know, high level, the speeds and feeds, we definitely have, you know, a good response in terms of technical capabilities of these drives, higher performance, higher capacity points against the Solidigm drive. So definitely providing a good alternative solution for, you know, customers that traditionally have been using Samsung and Solidigm. And so then going back to our, you know, market segment overview, the high end of the market would be covered by a high performance NVMe drive. We have one in the works. It is not announced yet, so I cannot share with you the details of this drive, but in January, we will be announcing a high performance NVMe drive that will really cover you know, kind of the majority of the needs in the data center together with the other two product families that we have. And then last but not least, there is going to be high capacity NVMe external storage drives. We also are planning on having products available for that in 2023. But again, I am not, you know, right now at liberty to share the details with you of those slides. But all in all, you know, if we're going to have this conversation a year from now, we really, you know, feel that we are going to have a complete portfolio that covers all of the needs in the data center, regardless if it's from, you know, entry-level boot to high capacity or high performance drives. So looking at our offering today, we have in essence two main product families, the 5400 mainstream SATA, the 7450 mainstream NVMe, and then very soon this high performance NVMe that we are planning on announcing in January. So that is our portfolio when it comes to data center SSDs. Moving on to our server DRAM products. If you look at the server DRAM market, we see that the server DRAM market, out of all the DRAM demand, is the largest growing segment, and that is, you know, where Micron has put a lot of effort and emphasis on making products that are suitable for that market. When you look at the capacity splits on the market today, we see that the 32 gigabytes RDIMM is really the most popular capacity point. We saw a few quarters ago that the 64 gigabyte was growing, but in recent quarters, 32 gigabyte has become the more popular capacity point again. Now, Micron is shipping, actually, I'm going to skip over this one. We are shipping both DDR4 and DDR5 based server and workstation modules. DDR5, we released our 4800 speed. DDR4, you know, we are shipping really all of the different flavors that you can imagine, you know, up to 128 gigabyte. We have 3-year warranty on all of our products, and you know, clearly everything, you know, of the highest quality. And so that, then I want to skip over this one because I think we're running a little bit out of time. The last one that I want to share with you is the website that is what we call our configurator tool. If you're looking at, if you are going to buy a server and you are building a server and you're trying to figure out what is the compatible memory that you can put into that server, you can go to this website orderingmemory.com. And you can plug in the name of the server, the CPU that you're using, and it will provide you with the the Micron part number that will be compatible and suitable for your server. And then similarly, we also have a cross-reference tool that if you are today using, I don't know, a Samsung drive, and you say, I want to look up the Micron equivalent product, you can go to this particular website and type in the part number of the competitor, and it will provide you with the part number of the Micron equivalent drive. So very quick look up of what would be the one-for-one replacement for potentially a drive that you are looking at or maybe using today, and you want to switch to Micron. And with that, that is kind of the story that I had to share with you for today. Lucia, I'll give it back to you.
Yes, thank you. Esther, thank you very much for your presentation. Teraz by sme pokračovali prezentáciou spoločnosti Crucial. Poprosím Pavla Pilarského o jeho zdieľanie. Thank you, Pavel. And now is your time.
Thank you, Lucia. Sorry, I had to unmute myself. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Can you see the slides?
Yes.
Give me a sec.
Now, no.
Because I have some two screen again problem. Okay, let's see this. Esther was really fast. Oh, yes.
Yes.
Can you see it now? Okay. So let me start maybe in saying ahoy to everybody. My Czech language is not that great yet, but děkuji wszystkim, że jesteście. I will make my presentation in English. It's not first time I do it with ASBIS team, so Lucia and the team, thank you very much for giving us opportunity to meet with all of the customers. I'll try to be quick. I know that we are in very hot season. Black Friday tomorrow, December is coming. I'll share with you the consumer products today more, as Esther said, and you already have a lot of information. You know that we use two brands, so Micron for enterprise and the Crucial brand, which we use for our consumer products. I'm working in Micron from almost 2.5 years, and I'm responsible for the Central Eastern Europe region. And I'm also responsible for both brands, so for Crucial Crucial products, so consumer products, and for Micron products, so enterprise products. So if there will be any questions regards the business side, as Lucia said, please reach out to Jan or Lukasz, or of course you can reach out to me directly as well. So starting, I just want to say a similar thing for consumer product, what Esther said. We are actually in a very interesting time. I think all of us, many of you are in the business long time and many years. So basically now we are in the transition from SATA to PCIe products. Yeah? We as a company, and I think many companies that measure the sales in terms of the products, we're expecting that there will be a massive change in year 21 or 22 in between SATA and PCIe. What we see is that it's happening. Of course, we see that SATA products are maybe less demand and that PCIe is ramping up, but still there is a big portion of SATA product that we are selling. The demand is very strong. There is a lot of upgrades happening and there is a lot of demand from end customers that needs these products. So from your perspective, I think it should be similar to our. We are building portfolio basically to address both markets, I would say. Moving forward, this year, in the middle of the year, we brought actually 2 new product lines to our portfolio. I think we recently were not really a good set with the NVMe products compared to our competition. So this year was really a good change in that sense that we finally have quite nice portfolio to address the market needs. What we brought is the Crucial P3 and Crucial P3 Plus, which I will just say a few words about each. So basically P3 Plus is our mainstream product now. It's a successor for P2. Previously we had P1, so we are going actually very easy naming from P1 to P2, from P2 to P3. All these products were on PCIe 3, Gen 3. So we call it really mainstream, the entry products in our portfolio and in our offering for, let's say, as we call it, everyday consumers mostly. The most important thing taking from this slide for you will be that, first of all, we are feeling really strong in building the high capacity products, and that's the same as Esther was showing on the enterprise side. Here we brought to the market the portfolio up to 4 terabyte drives. It's now all available and selling pretty nice. So I would expect that all high capacity products will be kind of for us a very strong sales. The other thing is that this drive performs 46% faster than the previous generation. So with the new NAND technology, which was Esther saying, we're also trying to, of course, improve the performance for every next generation of product. Moving forward, the other one we brought this year was P3 Plus. It's actually already generation 4 PCIe. Very interesting proposition to the market because the speeds are very impressive. With 5,000 write read. You can see here we are very well positioned with the performance here, and especially in terms of the price. So this is very good proposition on PCIe 4.0 for the consumers. And the very important thing is also that, again, we build it up to 4 terabyte. We really believe that the high capacity NVMe drives is really good proposition. And the other thing is that this one is faster 43% than the fastest Gen 3 NVMe SSD, which is available on the market, which is also kind of impressive. Moving forward, this is showing up now a full portfolio of NVMe product lines. Again, as I said, we still have in sales the P2, but it's already announced end of life. So what you see still on the market is just what left, and will be clean soon. The P3 will be now our mainstream product. You see how we improved actually read, write, endurance. All the factors are really much better than the previous generation. Then we will have P3 Plus on Gen 4 PCIe, and then we will have P5 Plus also on Gen 4 NVMe, which we basically trying to address for more gaming market, enthusiast market, professionals, etc., etc. All these drives came with a 5-year warranty, so I think it's very important, and are now available and work and at distribution. And I also think that we have really good market proposition in terms of the offer. What left from the SATA? So we are not changing much here in this portfolio because we believe that our products are really well known in the market in terms of the name and quality. So we are keeping actually both models, which is MX500 series and BX500 series, pretty long time. Not changing the naming, not changing the part numbers. Due to that, as I said, the customers really know these products. The reliability is very well known. There is not so much RMAs coming out of them. We have 5-year warranty with this, good speed in terms of the read-write. And also recently we have added 4 terabyte capacity to MX series. So basically, if you can see out of our portfolio, we have many high capacity 4 terabyte products now, which is also unique, I think, compared to our competition. In terms of the mainstream and really entry-level proposition, we focus on BX series. Here we start from a low capacities, 240 gig, 240 gig SSDs coming through 480, 500, 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte. So this is our kind of entry line and the mainstream products for, again, like for P3, everyday product. Good for replace the HD, also good to upgrade the old notebooks, etc., etc. So pretty simple, but very efficient portfolio, I would say. And again, just to show you how it works. So from value proposition BX500 on SATA side, from performance proposition MX500 on the NVMe side, P2 end of life. P3 Gen 3 will be mainstream, P5 plus, P3 plus generation 4. And next year we of course work to bring the generation 5, I'm sorry, products. However, that of course depends on the platform builders and the CPU builders, what will be happening in this area. However, I really believe that with what technology we have and strong innovations we do, we will be bringing Gen 5 products as soon as we can deliver to the market with other components. A small portion of the DRAM side. So basically, I think similar slide what Esther had. We do believe that DDR5 will be growing. Of course, DDR5 is faster, is more efficient, and the only factor really that is maybe not going so fast as we want to is that the prices for all the components were much higher at the beginning, and to build the system on all the components with the DDR5 and the motherboard, etc., was much higher than the generation with DDR4. However, we still believe that next year and next years will be much better. The products will develop. The speeds for DDR5 will be also growing. So with that, I think if you invest or if you think how the market will be transforming, for sure it will be moving from DDR4 to DDR5 soon. With that, we have the of course, two products for to propose. Basically, we have the regular DDR5 desktop memory with 4,800 speed, UDIM 816 32 gig densities, and a limited lifetime warranty, basically. So this is a future, I would say. It's much faster and better than the previous generation, so and DDR4, and we do believe that it will develop, as I said. The other thing is that we also have the sorting product. I do see now more demand on this. Due to that, of course, many more laptops are coming now with DDR5, and it's easy to upgrade them with another memory. Many of them are coming with some only one slot taken with 8 gig, for example. What we see now, the customers are trying to change or to upgrade the laptop to 2x16 mostly. So have a look if you are selling also laptop on notebooks. Have a look what is taken in from the slot perspective, and if you can upgrade, I think it might be a differentiator and proposition to your customer if there is more memory inside. That's how some customers are already doing to make a different product than the other competitors. As I said, it's much faster in terms of the product compared to previous generation. Of course, better and less power consumption, etc. Moving forward, as Esther said, we do have a new CEO from 5 years. This person, Sanjay, is coming from SanDisk, and as you know, SanDisk was very strong in consumer product group proposition, and from I think 2 or 3 years, we also started to think much more about the consumer and what consumers keep, how they handle with the data, etc., etc. So basically, all the backups for photos, documents, music, etc., games as well, connected to the Xbox or PlayStation 5. We started to look at a consumer more also from the portable SSD market, and by this we brought to the market 2 product lines already, and we are selling them from 2019, which was the X8 when we launched, and recently, I think 2 years ago maybe, we brought also X6. So with that, we also would like to be more visible in the market for end customers that are just regular customer that needs additional storage to their laptop or to the game console, or just to keep some data on as a backup on the external device. Yeah. Mostly in the past it was HDDs. These days the prices for the SSDs, portable SSDs, are I think very achievable for many markets, especially the mainstream products. As you can see, we are also trying to build let's say right product lines here. We started with the really performance product with X8, which is very impressive in terms of the speed. And then we also build up the X6 to also address the market for, let's say, more mainstream. Both products now are available with 4 terabyte capacity. So this is again the same story, or the same, as I said, in terms of the other products from NVMe or SATA side, that we are trying to address the market from the early capacity to the highest capacity we are able to build the product. So both products are available at 4 terabyte capacity as well. And with that, I just want to thank you for listening. Lucia, I will give you the microphone.